Murray and the Rainmakers, and they'll be playing in Melbourne next week. Now, our next guest tonight would have to be your ultimate in rugged football heroes. He's tough, he's strong, he's fearless, even though, like most rugby league players, he said goodbye to his neck a long time ago. However, let's still make him welcome, shall we? From Norths, their star, Mario Fenech. Lovely. So, Mario, tell me, how does it feel to miss the finals with Norths?
Terrible.
Really bad?
Well,
you just missed out.
We're trying to get used to it, but the thing that was disappointing about my team was that after round 16, we were in the top three, and we sort of fell away badly, and it's very disappointing. But they say there's always next year, but it doesn't make you feel any better.
Does it hurt more missing out being in the finals by that much with Norths, or completely missing out being perpetually wooden spooners with your former club Souths? No. Honest, what hurts more?
Well, that's a bit rough in terms of...
But it's true.
With my Souths, no, I don't think it's true. Personally, I don't really think you've got too much knowledge of the game at all, Ellie.
None at all. That's why I am free to be objective and ask the hard question, because I don't have any ego in this. Like, I don't have to prove anything, because I don't know a thing about it.
Well, to be honest, I'd much rather finish close to the semi-finals than down at the bottom, but sure, to get so close and so near and yet so far, as the saying goes, but I'm more disappointed the fact that I felt we should have got there, but through some players playing with injury and a few form slumps, we missed out.
Form slumps, injury, cliches, football injuries. Isn't it? I mean, that's what everybody says. Every man's got 2 arms and 2 legs and 10 fingers and 10 toes and half a brain. I don't know. No. So, now, let's go back, Mario, because you've been playing for a long time and you've lasted. Longevity, because it's a young, fast man's game now.
Well, I'm proud of the fact that I've played 10 years of first grade.
Exactly, yeah.
So, well, it's a matter of being dedicated to what you want to do, and I train very hard, and now that I'm getting older, I have to train harder and, as Duncan said, get up early in the mornings and do that type of thing. So I love the game. Honestly, I'd love to be able to play the game forever, but that's not possible. And, I'll give it my best shot while I can play the game, and hopefully that'll be another couple of seasons. Because
you came out with your parents from Malta when you were only 3 months old. What stimulated your interest in rugby league? Was it school or...?
Well, the main reason I really got attracted to the rugby league was the fact that when my brother and I first went to school, we were born in Malta, and we used to get called wogs and that type of thing, and I was probably sick of getting in so many fights and getting sent home from school. So the only thing that I could really see as to try to become more Australian was to play rugby league. I saw that as an opportunity to become more accepted playing the game, and that's what really attracted me to the game.
Was yours like an all-boys school with lots of male, teachers?
Yeah, it was an all-boys school, and we had nuns that looked after us, but
the nuns.
They were hard. They were hard.
Oh, I know. I've seen nuns playing rugby league, except they play without a hooker. So.
Yeah. Well, but the nuns were very tough and loved their rugby league, and you really had no choice but to play the game. They virtually threw the uniform at you, and I spent the first 5 or 6 years not really knowing the rules and sitting on the sideline.
Just like me. So when you were. I was going to ask you why they called you Test Match.
Because I take things pretty seriously.
No.
And when I was a kid, when I was younger, we'd play touch football and muck around with the boys, and I'd really take it seriously. And they'd say, "Well, come on, settle down. It's not a Test match." So
they called you Test Match. But you did.
They call me many things, Ellie. They call me many things.
Yeah, from the sidelines.
Yeah. So, but Test Match, and I get Muzzer, and I get a few other things I can't really say on camera, but. A few little nicknames here and there. A few little nicknames.
But you went on and you ended up playing with Souths, which was your local club. It was pretty fortuitous, really, the Rabbitohs.
Well, actually, Fenech means rabbit in Maltese, which is destiny, I suppose, and...
Aren't you lucky that Fenech doesn't mean swimming costume? You would have had to be a synchronised swimmer. Or loser. You would have had to play for Queensland in the Sheffield Shield. That was very lucky.
Well, that was destiny to play for South, and I really enjoyed my time there. It was
10
great.
years?
Yeah, I was 10 years there, and unfortunately the club had financial problems, and I was shown the door, so to speak, and fortunately North Sydney came along, and it just worked out great.
Because you represent, really, the personification of the changing face of rugby league, with the swapping of clubs, not just so much playing for the jumper, but the money coming into it. When you went to Norths, after playing for Souths, which you loved and grew up with, was it the same? Is it the same?
Well, to clarify your point before, in terms of I was faced with no other choice but to move on. It's just like I liken it to someone who's working at a job for 10 years and they virtually try to reduce or halve your pay. And, you know, I'm dedicated to what I do, and I train very hard, and virtually I was left with no choice but to go elsewhere. So really I was forced to go elsewhere, otherwise I'd still be there.
All right, Judas, let's move on. You have had lots of injuries
I
in your
haven't
time.
had too many injuries at all.
You haven't?
No.
Because you're...
I had a bit of injury at the Rothmans Medal the night I saw you.
Yes.
Do you remember that?
Yes,
I had bruised eardrums.
Yes, that's because I was talking to you. Yes, certainly. But you've often said that you're a man that likes to lead with his head, which I always find a very admirable quality in a man. do you still, now that you've got to really look after yourself, now that you have to really look after yourself and your body, are you as fearless, as reckless?
Well, in terms of leading with your head, I believe, in my experience, the real good defensive players are people that lead with their head. And that's not... You've got to understand what I'm trying to say in terms of you lead with your head, your shoulders are supposed to go in the right place, of course, but what you find is the people that are good tacklers don't fear to lead with their head. And I've led with my head many times, and as you can see, I've come off second best a few times as well.
Well, you have, because your lovely wife, Rebecca, is pregnant.
Yeah.
Tell me, how many months now?
Listen, I hope there's security guards here, because I'm a chance to go on berserk in this thing.
You're going to thump me?
No, I wouldn't thump you, but I'd pick you up and probably spear you into that...
No, how many months now?
She's 4 months. And,
which means that she would have conceived in, like, May, which means she's due in January, which means she doesn't stuff up the football season. Did you?
Actually, it's a little bit of a problem because she's due in on the 1st of March.
Oh.
So, you know, we'll have to talk about that later, but we're very happy about
I'm sure you are, and that's what I want to say, Mario. Within every rugged footballer, there is a sensitive new age guy underneath, and you are one of the best. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you.
This is the Mario Fenech book called Personal Best. It's co-written by Mario's brother, Stephen Fenech. It is fabulous reading. Go out and enjoy it. Mario, once again, thank you for joining us. Thank you. Once again now, with all the sports news, let's cross to Karen Ty.
Thanks, Elle. Hello again. Well, both the Sydney and Brisbane Rugby Union finals will be decided this weekend, and a late Wallaby spot for the Tour of Canada and France could be up for grabs. Fullback Tim Kelleher will undergo a medical tomorrow to examine the progression of his recovery from stomach ulcers. In the Sydney Grand Final tomorrow, minor premiers Gordon will start big favourites against Warringah, with defending champs Randwick absent for the first time in 17 years.
All year they've been doing plenty of singing in the Gordon dressing room. Mark Hartwell, though, is their big worry for tomorrow. He hasn't played since suffering a badly corked leg injury 2 weeks ago. His grand final spot tomorrow is not just in doubt, but also his place in the Wallabies squad for the North American and French tour.
I've had some advice that if I do play, it will be with pain, and I probably won't do any more damage. So that made me feel a lot better and made it easier to make a decision.
Gordon has 3 sides in grand finals tomorrow. A 3 out of 3 result has been drummed into the players' minds all week.
Good news on our junior hockey front, with the Australian junior women's team progressing to the final of the World Cup in Barcelona. The team will meet Argentina in Sunday's final. And our junior men's team are also doing well, reaching the semi-finals of their World Cup campaign, which will be played tonight later on our time. Now recapping tonight's 2 basketball games in the Men's National League. Perth easy winners, and not surprisingly, over Hobart 127-99, and Geelong defeating the high-placed Gold Coast by just the 3 points. Rugby League this Sunday sees the defending premiers battle Canterbury for a place alongside St George in the grand final. No prizes where Debbie's heart lies, but who's going to win?
You know, this week, for the first time, I've started to feel ashamed to be a Sydney-sider. Every time I've picked up a newspaper or looked at a television, there's been some miserable sod telling me that Beijing's got the Olympics in the bag and the Broncos are as good as into the grand final. Well, I don't care if the Chinese are already painting the 5 rings on their tanks. I don't care if there's already 8 truckloads of grand final T-shirts printed in maroon and yellow. I'm not giving up that easily. What's going on? Have we become the turn-it-up capital of the world? Is the Sydney Psyche being dressed by Anita Keating's fashion designer? Sure, Sunday's match looks ridiculously one-sided on paper, but that's what they said about the United Nations v Mohammed Aidid. I know the Broncos can score from anywhere on the field, anytime, with almost any player. I know that last weekend the Bulldogs were as useless as Joan Sutherland's support to the Olympic bid, but I'm going to tip them anyway. Go for the Bulldogs 93 Sydney 2000 double. It won't necessarily come up trumps, but if it does, just think how much stick you'll be able to give to those smug, pessimistic know-alls that said it couldn't be done. Karen.
Thank you, Debbie. Well, preliminary final time tomorrow in the AFL. Essendon and the Crows looking for the second grand final berth to play Carlton. Essendon will start favourites, but let's find out from the man who knows, Crackers Keenan.
Thanks, Karen. Well, I suppose second last game, Essendon versus the Crows. The Crows have about as much chance of winning this game as this poor little porker flying to the moon. Essendon, a very good side, will win the preliminary final. Back to you, Karen.
Thank you, Crackers. Well, please join me next Friday morning from 2 a.m. in the lead up to our Olympic announcement, because it's going to be very lonely out there at Homebush Bay. I need some people to watch me. Now we go back to Crackers with this week's Controversy Corner question. Who should foot the bill for sporting injuries?
Hey! How are you? Who should foot the bill for sporting injuries?
You know where I've seen you in Putney Street?
Yeah, that's good. I'll get down there a bit.
You gave me a hard time because I had shorts on and everything. I just come from the gym.
All right.
Who's going to win where?
Who's going to... Who should foot the bill for sporting injuries?
The government.
The government.
Oh, I think the clubs should.
The clubs.
They're the sportsmen themselves.
Yes, it should be subsidised by the government. Yeah. It should be subsidised by the players. Yeah. And it should be subsidised by the team managers with the money. The money people should pay for it.
Get on your bike and leave.
Go Crack!
What if you go hang gliding and you get stuck on a ledge and they have to call in the emergency services?
Who pays?
Well, that would be the question, wouldn't it?
Well, I never realised, it's a bit like the ambulance, you know, to be honest with you. Until the St John's ambulance did that ad on the TV, I never realised you had to pay for the ambulance if it came and got you. I thought it was done by the government, but now I've realised it. So if the helicopter, I'd have to pay for it. If I was stuck on the ledge and I had to pay for it, I'd be quite prepared to pay who was prepared to come and get me.
You would?
I'd have to, because I want to get off the bloody ledge.
The football team, if they want him back. Really? Absolutely. I'm sure the fans would pay an extra 50 cents on the ticket to be able to get him back. Absolutely.
Well, I know who should pay it, and I know who does pay it.
Who does pay
I think it should be a user's pay.
User's pay?
User.
Can I speak to you two people for a second?
Oh, my God, of course you can.
All right, now listen. Shut up. If you're doing aerobics and you do your knee and you're off work for 6 weeks, who should pay the bill?
The work should pay.
Work care?
Yeah, definitely.
Good.
Well, no, the work, not work here, not the government, work.
What about in sporting
Company
fields, in getting injured in a sporting field?
Oh, no, the clubs should pay.
Club should pay.
Oh, especially like when it's big time, like AFL and the Olympics and all that.
Well, Paul Keating should pay that.
Why?
Well, because he's got us all in the shit. Why shouldn't he get me out?
If you're a leisure activity, like hang gliding or deep sea fishing or whatever, they send in the emergency services to pick you up.
Yeah.
Who should pay the cost for that? I'll give you some thinking time.
I think I should.
Why?
Well, it was my fault.
You were a silly Billy.
Yeah.
You were.
Yeah.
You were a naughty bunny. You were. And are you ever going to do it again?
Never.
Never. Good boy.
Thank you. Thank you.
So tell us, who should foot the bill for sporting injuries? Well, what a panel we've got for you tonight. On this hand side, Debbie Scull of Rossballane, Peter Crackers Keenan, and back to join us, Lex the Swine Mariner. And on this hand side, our very special guests, Mario Judas Fenech, Duncan Fahrenheit Armstrong, we're expecting a case of it, and from Triple J, Mikey Robbins. So who should foot the bill for sporting injuries? Let's find out. Duncan,
I think the club
you were a
should.
sportsman.
Yeah, I was.
Yes.
Grounded the deep.
I knew she'd go to you first.
Absolutely.
So after show.
Would you two swap seats, please? I just... No, Duncan, who should?
I think the club should. I think it's the clubs are paying you to be out there playing for them,
Yeah?
and you know, you're their asset, and you know they should fix your asset if it gets broke.
Yes, but the clubs pay you.
What if the
the
club's
clubs
broke?
pay you enough money to play for it. Aren't there some things that should be the athlete's
Well, it should be written
responsibility?
into your contract. I think
That
is part of it, part of the whole kit and caboodle.
But you know how the contracts go nowadays. Athletes don't get a chance. If they want to play, they've got to sign what's put in front of them.
Well, they need a very good manager, don't they, Mario? Yeah.
We've got a new controversy corner question. Do athletes need lawyers? That's what we're going to talk about now. No. Debbie. We're back on sporting injuries.
We're back on sporting injuries.
Duncan says the
well,
club.
I think the promoters are the people who should pay for the injury, because let's face it, the greater the chance of somebody getting injured, the more money they're going to make. You know, I mean, you work it out that way. Boxing's the most expensive sport in the world to stage, and motor racing, all those sort of... I don't know how golf gets there. I'm not really sure about that one. But basically, if they want blood, they've got to pay for it if it happens. So the promoters, whoever's making money...
The bloke takes his chance in boxing. He goes, gets his head knocked off. That's why you go to have a look at it.
Well, that's why the promoters are the ones who should...
Because you got brain damage?
No, that's what I'm saying. Because the promoters actually make money out of the fact that somebody might get their head knocked in.
That's why they're in the ring for.
Well, the promoters put him in the ring because they want to see them have their head knocked in. Will you concentrate?
The bloke gets into the ring because he wants to.
This is interesting because we've had the letter of the week that comes from Sue Marnie of Southport in Queensland. She actually vaguely agrees with you, Debbie, which is a damn surprise. She says that we are approaching it from the wrong angle.
Change your life, are you?
Crackers. Have another long lunch, Crackers. Now, she actually says that we're approaching this question from the wrong angle. She says sports injuries needn't be seen as liabilities to be coughed up for, but as an excellent opportunities for further corporate sponsorship. Companies should sponsor particular types of injury that tend to remind the public of their products. For example, who does not immediately think cartilage when they bite into a Big Mac? Alternatively, the Golden Arches could be used to support those athletes with flat feet. The English batting lineup, for instance. Don Smallgoods could manage groin strains, while Billy Hyde's drum clinics are a natural to sponsor concussions. She's also drawn a wonderful picture of Merv Hughes's jock strap, and the sponsor she's written on it is Lucky Boy. Mikey.
Well, it's going to vary from sport to sport, I mean, like, you know, you look at your sporting injury in bowling, lawn bowls, the occasional tube of hemorrhoid cream.
Heart attacks.
Oh, heart attacks. Once they're dead at that age. Bugger it. Look, they're gone.
What about abseiling? Like, you know, if a bloke's prepared to jump off a cliff,
He's
you want
a
to
dork
insure
and he
him.
deserves it.
Yes, that's right. You shouldn't insure him. If he's prepared to get up to a cliff and jump, let him go.
So, Crackers, are you saying that the government shouldn't pay for
No,
helicopters
if
to
they
come...
fall off and you've got to rescue them, just leave them be. Just send them a car. Put a death notice in.
No one should have to pay for it. It should be free to get an injury. Look, these people are at the cutting edge of medicine. I mean, it's the sportsmen who are telling us about knee reconstructions and I mean, the groin, we'd be groping around in the dark for the groin. We didn't know anything about the groin until sports came along. Sport is there to advance medicine, it should be free. It's their right. People. It's their human right to get it.
Can I just cut in, please?
Oh, please, Mark.
Honestly, I don't think you blokes... I don't think you people have got a clue. I tell you what. I'll tell you why. In terms of, I'll fill you in what happens in terms of what we do, right? And I think that's the fair way to go.
Yeah,
in terms of, with myself, we have to compulsory enrol with a full cover NIB I'm with, right?
Yeah.
Full cover, so I have to pay for that. Nice plug, isn't it? Well, I have to pay for
NIB, Volvo, gee, we're doing well tonight on the ABC.
Hang on. Well, and then after that, the club pays the difference. So I insure myself and I pay the fees for my NIB, and they pay the rest, which is a fair go, isn't it?
That happens in Victoria too, you know, Mario. We're advanced down there too. We have that. You're not alone, you know. But if you're in a club and you're a professional sportsman, I'm but like Duncan, they've got to look over. But these idiots who go and want to sail to Tasmania, let them go.
I mean, what about rock fishing? You ever tried to fill on a rock?
I think you have.
That's awful.
Hey, hey, what about pocket billiards?
I bet
you can do a blues there, Mario.
You pulled that one out.
No, I reckon anyone who goes off on any of those things where they might need to be rescued ought to carry some plastic with them, you know, the Diners Club card or the Amex or whatever, and they just come in with the helicopter and just phone through and check that the credit's there to pay for the rescue before they rescue them. Then we're never going to be in debt. Just rack it up on your card.
Actually, the ABC could be handy there. Just send the crew out from police rescue.
Yes.
It's Gary Sweet. Sonia Todd saves you writing an episode. Just get them to do it.
Well, that's the interesting thing, Debbie. We all pay our taxes, right? So why shouldn't if one gets stuck abseiling on
Because
it?
some people take far more risks than other people. I mean, a lot of people just do stupid things. They want to run across deserts. They want to jump off cliffs. They want to jump out of airplanes.
They're be healthy. They're promoting health and
No,
sport.
they want to see if they can survive.
What about that Eddie the Eagle? Like, what an absolute idiot he was. He couldn't even jump. And he was there. He should have killed himself and done us all.
Well...
No, you sound down there, Eddie. I hope you die.
Well, on that note, Crackers, I think we might round up the panel. Mario, you don't have anything to add to that?
Well,
Mario, what about...
They haven't got a clue. That's all I'm saying.
We haven't got a clue.
How can you talk when you've got that funny little hair? Why can't you even...
Yeah.
And on that note, we are going to round up the panel before I get my head well and truly kicked in. Thank you very much for joining us. Thank you, Mario. Thank you, Duncan. Thank you to our goanna pullers. As I said, you can see them at goanna pullers, I said, Debbie. You can see them at Crafton at the world's biggest barbecue on next month.
You ever pulled a goanna?
I don't pull and tell, Debbie. I do not pull and tell. Next week, we're going to be in Melbourne for the grand final show. Of course, the AFL grand final on Saturday and a big rugby league grand final Sunday week. That's what I'm trying to say. If you'd like to come to the show once again, you can call us in Melbourne on Monday morning between 9 and 10 on 03 524 2444. 524 2444. Remember, ladies, bring a plate. Featured on that show, the magnificent band that Debbie has got the hots for. Who are they?
Oh, thanks very much.
The Shark.
No,
yes, Deb Hawkins. So we like them very, very much. Next week's Controversy Corner question, apt for the significance of the weekend. What does football mean to you? There, Mario's got a tear in his eye. What does football mean to you? If you've got an...
I'll tell you what, I've tried that goanna pulling. It's quite good fun, actually.
Is it?
Yeah.
I think you did a fair bit of it tonight, actually, Mario.
So Mario, that's what you do in a scrum. If you'd like to tell us what football means to you, you can write to us at Live and Sweaty Post Office Box 9994 Sydney 2001 or fax us on 02 950 3466. And on that note, good night, Australia, and by golly, we love you all.
Is football stupid? Find out on Wednesday when Wendy Harmer, Andrew Denton, H.G. Nelson, Lex Marinos and more tackle this highly sensitive sporting question. World Series Debating, our ABC special next Wednesday night at 8:30. Coming up, Sticky Moments.